Okay, guys. Hello. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've done one of these. And yeah, it's just been so long. Welcome back to my podcast. It's called Sunset with Ria. So I thought it would be really nice to actually sit in the sun today and record. And just a warning, today's topic is gonna be from an Islamic viewpoint, and so if that's something that you don't think you're comfortable with, I probably wouldn't watch this, because I'm gonna speak in a way that a Muslim speaks, and I think maybe my episodes before have been quite general and they've not really expressed that part of myself. You'll understand, I think, from this episode, like since Ramadan, I just don't really see any other way to be anymore. And I'm really blessed and I'm really happy about that. Alhamdulillah. But that perspective might not be easy to digest for everyone, okay? I'm specifically gonna speak about, let me just turn off my phone as well, because that's gonna be annoying. I specifically want to speak about Ramadan from like a Revert perspective, because if you are a Revert and you don't have family or friends around you immediately that are Muslim, you will understand that Ramadan can actually be a little bit tough, right? Or worse, or maybe I should say harder, if you are coming from a place and a family where it's really not accepted. And again, I'm super blessed because my family, for the most part, have accepted this part of me and this decision and this journey that I've decided to go on. But I understand that that's not the case for everybody. So it's difficult, not just because you're on your own, but because you're on your own and everyone around you that you've known and loved disagrees. So yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to do a little Ramadan, go back to Ramadan. Sorry, just got that little clip in my head. Yeah, what was I going to say? I'm going to speak about Ramadan as a Revert and also as a girly with ADHD, because I've put off like mentioning this, I think, in my other videos, because I think it's definitely become a little bit like trendy. And it's like a buzzword, right? It's quite sensational at the moment, where people are like, yeah, like everyone's a little bit ADHD. Like, okay, yeah, everyone's a little bit, do you know what I mean? Everyone's got their little things. But if you're watching this and, you know, you live with ADHD constantly, and it's not just a personality trait, it's not just, you know, it's the way that your brain is wired, and you are trying to be a practicing Muslim, there is so many things and ways that your brain works that works against Islam, I think, because for me at least, I see this practice and this religion as very peaceful, and in a way, it's very structured, and even though it requires you to have faith and to kind of have that outlook on life that no matter what happens is fine, like it's planned, you know, it's God-willed, right? You also, on the flip side, have to kind of be quite disciplined, and that is really opposite to a lot of ADHD-wired brains, especially as a woman, and as a man, right? So I want to speak about how I was able to kind of get from where I was at the beginning of the month of Ramadan and how I am now, which is, what are we? It's April. When did it end? Mate, if you know me, you know I barely know what day it is. What day is it today? No, that's crazy. What day is it today? What am I doing? Monday. Woo! Let's not get distracted. Yeah, let me go back on my photos. But I was going to say is that my calendar is my photos. Like my camera, I'll be able to tell what's been going on and like what kind of time it was. So anyways, my Eid pictures were taken on the 21st of March and it is now the 13th of April. So how long ago was that then? I'm finished, mate. 1, 2, 3, 4. So almost basically a month ago. Okay, so Ramadan was basically a whole month ago. So I would say, all honesty, also I can feel like a hair. Oh, sorry, I need to get comfortable. Otherwise I'm not going to be able to talk properly. Oh, it's a bit hot as well. This sun looks nice, but it's hot in here. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so if I'm being honest, before Ramadan, I was not hitting my 5 daily prayers. I'm going to keep it real. I was not hitting my 5 daily prayers, okay? And part of that was just being way too caught up in this world and what this world has to offer and what it tries to throw in your face, like constant distraction, whether it's socializing, whether it's work, whether it's hobbies, whether it's going out and just doing like little bits, getting shopping, whatever it is, right? Going to the gym, exercising, meeting up with friends, watching a movie, reading a book, whatever it is. I was just really, really, really caught up in that and just honestly living life as if it's forever and as if we're going to be here forever, but it's not. And that is something that I actually realized in Ramadan. I was like, girl, this could just all end in any second. So why are you stressing so much? Low key, like, why? You're stressing about the wrong things. You're literally stressing about the wrong things. Like, you're stressing about where's my next meal gonna come from, knowing that you've got a whole fridge full of food. It's like, oh, what am I gonna cook for dinner? Well, you're gonna cook something because there's chicken, there's beef, there's lamb in the freezer, whatever, there's rice in the cupboard, there's pasta in the cupboard, so you're gonna cook something. So why even think, like, just relax? You know, what am I gonna wear? All this, just honestly rubbish, genuinely rubbish. And I was really, really blessed that before Ramadan I was doing some part-time work, which I didn't really enjoy it. I'm going to be honest. You know, in the beginning, I definitely saw a lot of value in it. And I think it taught me a lot about, I guess, that industry and the skills that kind of come alongside with it. And I think it also just taught me that I don't want to do it as well, which is a blessing. I'm really lucky to have found, I'm just colouring in one thing in this colour. Let me go back. Yeah, I was really lucky to have found out at an early age that I don't enjoy that. And they fired me on the first day of Ramadan, guys. And I'm not even just saying this, I was genuinely filled with joy because for some reason, and again, I would personally, for me, I would say this is a big way that ADHD affects my life, right? I find it really hard to do like arbitrary jobs. Like, you know how most people, they can just go and work like a full-time job that they don't 100% enjoy and they'll just get through it because of the money. That's not me, babe. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'd rather just be on like the minimum way of living than be somewhere that I feel like I'm gonna cry every 5 seconds because that's just how I am. I was praying like, Allah, please, like, your girl, you need to get me out of here. Like, genuinely, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Like, I can't be doing this no more. And I don't know why I didn't quit. I think I was a bit anxious. I was anxious because I thought, oh, you know, before you get the position, you're there like, yeah, this is what I want to do, like, blah, 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 blah. And it's low-key. It's not a lie because there was a part of me that wanted that, right, at the time. But I think, it's just like a very worldly thing that career is like be all and end all and that has to take up your whole routine. And it really doesn't. Well, then actually, though, I should be a bit sensitive around that because I am in a position in my life at the moment where I can take a step back. And I'm really fortunate for that. I'm very blessed. But just going back to the original point, which is on the first day of Ramadan, I didn't have a job. Right? So I was like, okay, perfect. I don't have a job. I've got this whole month of Ramadan to just fully focus on Ramadan. So I made a promise to myself and to Allah, like, I'm going to try my best this Ramadan, like not even just like going through the motions. Obviously there is the practical things, like the physical things, like fasting and praying, and like cooking together and community and that kind of thing. and, reading the Quran, all these things, right? There's all those practical things that you can do, but also just in terms of like my consciousness. I'm just going to quickly look up. I was meant to do this before. Embarrassing. For when you have it. Oh, Taqwa. I did think it was called that, but you're not 100% sure. I didn't want to get it wrong. Yeah, so, I was focusing on Taqwa and just having genuine trust, having genuine faith, because, and I can say this because I know how I was before. It was like, I'm like, oh yeah, like I trust God, like whatever happens is gonna happen, like whatever will be, but it's just words and there's no substance to it at all. Whereas now it's like I genuinely am not stressed about anything. I'm just not stressed about anything, because why would I be? Like, as a Muslim, why would you be? It's literally already planned. It's already planned. And I watched a really great clip and a couple of lectures actually over Ramadan. The guy, is his name Mufti Menik? I can't pronounce his name, sorry. I'm sorry. I can't pronounce his name. And he was saying, like, it's literally haram to overplan. If you're budgeting your life and planning your life to the point where you're not allowing for any, like, difference and change, you're basically saying that you're better at planning than Allah is. Girl, let me tell you something now. I know for a fact I'm not. I didn't even know what day it was 5 minutes ago. Do you know what I mean? So you seriously, you need to start like not just saying it, okay? Because it's not just some cute little affirmation. It's not like some little Instagram quote, like, oh, like whatever happens, like, like trust in Allah, like, all will be fine. Like, no, genuinely, everything is gonna be fine, okay? Calm down and focus on the things that genuinely matter. For me, I said to myself, I'm going to prioritize getting my 5 prayers done, because that was something that I wasn't doing before, right? I'm going to prioritize getting my 5 daily prayers done, and I'm going to let God do the rest. Genuinely, I'm letting him do the rest, because that's what he's told me to do. I'm going to focus on reducing my tendency or whatever, my sins, and reducing those things that I'm engaging with that are haram as much as possible, and focusing on hitting my 5 daily prayers. The rest of it will follow. And it did. Alhamdulillah, it did. Like I said before, this month, I was working a job I didn't enjoy. They fired me. I was leaping up with joy thinking, okay, this is like, what more of a sign could he give me, mate? What more of a sign? He's like, babe, pack up your stuff and get out of this place, because this is not for you. And now I can confidently and comfortably say that I'm in so much more of a better position. I'm so happy. I'm so at peace. And that is what Islam is about. It's about peace. It's about peace. And I don't want to use the word quiet, but just the word peace, isn't it? And now I'm doing stuff that allows me to live in a worldly sense. So when I say that, I mean like in terms of like money and housing and food, right? Like shelter, all those worldly things I have. But I'm doing work that actually fulfills me. It doesn't drain me. And it's something that I can do to actually give back. Within that month, within that time of me fully like reducing what I was doing to the bare minimum, because that is all he asks you to do, is remain with taqwa and hit your prayers and try to stay on the straight path. Like, try not to engage with things that are going to bring you towards negativity. Try not to gossip. Watch what you're eating. Be conscious of what you're eating. Be conscious of what you're doing. Be conscious of who you're hanging around. All of these things. Be conscious of the opinions that you form and whether you express them or not. I think that's another thing as well, is that I tried not to socialize outside of what was necessary. So, like, for example, it was my birthday and it's a very worldly thing, right, to kind of celebrate. And I guess it's it depends what your culture is, whether it's a really, really big thing or not to celebrate. And I personally, like, I've grown up in the UK, and half of my family are like Western, right? So it's a normal thing to like celebrate birthdays and have parties, or like go for dinner with your friends, or like go out with your friends, whatever it is. But for me, I just thought, I reflected and I was like, you know what? It's not necessary. And I had friends that say, oh, what are you doing for your birthday? It's like, I don't really want to do anything. Like, I just want to relax, and I just want to like focus and just actually be grateful that I'm here. And I think things like that can become quite performative, especially when you're trying to live a very, because the way I would describe Islam and the way that I engage with it is that I think your life should actually be quite simple. I think you should be humble. I think that's another thing, is that I was really relearning what it meant to live in humility. And I don't think I'm there yet, but every day I get closer to the kind of woman that I envision myself to be. Yeah, I think I want to be conscious of how I'm perceived. And in this day and age, with social media and influencers and celebrity culture and even just content creation, right? I think sometimes that phrase of, you shouldn't care what people think of you shouldn't care, how you look to others, has kind of been twisted into like a negative thing. And actually, I think it can be a positive thing. I think you should be conscious of how other people perceive you. I think you should be conscious of the interactions that you have with other people, how you come across, and the energy or the footprint that you leave behind. I think that is important to a certain extent. And I don't mean that in the sense of, I don't think that you need to constantly look your best in terms of like social constructs. I don't think, so for example, as a woman, maybe as a feminine woman, I don't think you need to always be hung up about whether you've got your makeup done, or whether you've got your best outfit on, or whether you smell good, or whether you're always smiling, and all these things, right? I think that is actually quite a male-centered outlook on, but then also a female-centered outlook on what's expected of you. And that's, I would personally say, is quite a worldly thing. When I say you should care about what people think about you, I think what that means for me, at least, is I care if people think that I treated them with respect, and I was patient, and I gave them the time of day, and I was able to listen, and I was friendly. And if I smile, it's because I want them to feel comfortable, not because I want them to see how great my teeth are, or because how beautiful I look when I smile. And I think that's another really big takeaway that I took from Ramadan, is humility does have a physical appearance, but you have to relearn what that is. And it might mean going outside in, an abaya which doesn't show my figure, or an outfit that doesn't look quite right or quite put together, or forgetting to put on perfume, or having dry skin, and all the, not using makeup to conceal like spots that I have, like not having lip balm, I don't know, just all these things, right? So the things that I want you to take from that are, try to stay in a constant state of taqwa. Understand and remember that anything that is going on in your life, Allah knows, and He's already solved. And you don't have to hide as well. It's like, if you think to yourself, oh, I kind of want to do this, and it's haram, right? And you shouldn't. why are you like, it's like you're low-key trying to, and I know this because I do this, it's like you're trying to put a cover, when you're a kid and you try to hide in the cover, it's like, babe, he can see what you're doing, he feels it, like he can feel in your heart, like he feels it, like he feels that little bit of adrenaline when you're like, oh I kind of want to do this, I shouldn't do that, he feels that adrenaline, okay? And then he feels your like debating point where you're like, okay, should I, shouldn't I? And then maybe he feels your guilt if you don't, or your joy, your guilt if you do, and then your joy if you don't, right? And so don't think that God is outdated just because he's been around forever and these texts have been around forever, and you didn't meet the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and these things feel like, oh, it's so far away from you. It's not. And he's still right here, and he's moved along with the world in every sense, in absolutely every sense. And that's so important to remember, because it makes you way more comfortable to admit those things to him when you're in prayer, or even just when you're by yourself, or even just in your head, however it is that you communicate with him on a regular basis. Remember that he is a modern day God, okay? And I think that has really helped me, because I just had to remember, like, girl, he is the fun auntie, he is the fun uncle, you know what I mean? Like, he's everything. He is the wise mom, the wise dad, the wise grandparent. He is the strict parent, he is the fun parent, he is the funny sibling, he's everything. And that can really help when you're trying to reconnect or keep on connecting, and when you feel like there's stuff that you just can't say to anybody else. And yes, of course, at the end of the day, he is going to be the one that judges you, but at the same time, he is the one that loves you the most. I mean, the love that he has for you is unexplainable. And it's like, it can't be put into words, and it can't be put into human constructs and worldly constructs. And that is a really, for me, important way in which I stay in a state of taqwa. The second thing is, like, going back, it kind of links in, is giving things to God, fully giving things to God. Trust in him, have faith in him. He's sorted this, girl. Like, he has planned everything to a T, literally to a T. He has crossed all his T's and dotted all his I's. He hasn't left anything behind, okay? So you need to just stop stressing. Make your salah and chill out. Personally, that's what I would say. Make your salah, pray, and have a coffee, have a Kit Kat, take a break. That's what I would say. What else is there? Was there anything else that I was gonna say? Oh yeah, cut out unnecessary socializing. Sorry. And I think this is a little bit personal to me, my preferences and my brain wiring. I don't like to socialize unnecessarily anyway. When you're Muslim, it's even more important. I kind of do get this thing of being too much of like a haram police, or like feeling like you can only hang out with Muslims, okay? I don't think that's necessarily the case. After all, we're all on the same earth and we all have the same flesh. And I don't think we should discriminate. And that, that goes for anything. If someone's in need, go help them, But there's a lot of things that haven't happened yet that would indicate that end times isn't going to happen right now. But it could. It literally could. And so just be conscious of that. Like, if you're going out to the club, you're going out to a party, whatever, you're going to see whoever, whatever, to do whatever, just be conscious of that. And I'm not saying that people can't make mistakes or people can't live their life a certain way. I'm not trying to tell you to live your life a certain way, or that you have to be doing all of these things in order to be the best Muslim, okay? find out where your limits are. Because for me, that's one of my limits. I just don't want to be put into a point of temptation. And for me, there's mistakes that I'm comfortable with making and there's mistakes that I'm not. That's the reality. And there is no such thing as a perfect Muslim. And you are going to sin, of course. And guess what? You could be that person that's praying 5 times a day, never swears, never smokes, blah, 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 but you're forgetting a lot on a regular basis. And that might sound silly to you, but it's true. That can happen. You can be someone that's going through the motions, and still those motions are not leading you to a closer connection and understanding of Allah, and vice versa. You could still be shutting the door on him. And so understand that your relationship can take different physical forms. People have different contexts and circumstances, and some circumstances don't allow for certain things to take place. And also your circumstances can change. So whatever it is that your relationship looks like with God, if you are starting to feel more at peace, if you are starting to trust him more and to seek him more, that's what I focus on. I focus on whether I can get down on that prayer mat and fully tell him what's going on, and to accept myself, accept my mistakes, and accept him and accept his plan and completely trust him. That's what it's about for me. Might not be that way for you, you know? I don't want any of the advice on here to feel like lecturing. This is just my experience. And it's been an eye-opening thing for me, because before Ramadan I didn't really have people to like pray with, or people to talk about these kind of things with, people to like make iftar with, or just all these things, right? Oh, 1 second. Please don't take any of this in a way of like I'm trying to lead by perfect example, because I'm definitely not. And there's definitely a lot of things that I still do, and I'm choosing to show you my positives and my highlights because I think it's important to celebrate those things. And this is another big thing. When you have a complaint, take it to Allah first, because I think that's something that maybe sometimes I make a mistake on, and I'll see how that negativity then creeps back into me. Say something happens and I don't agree with it, or someone says something, or someone treats me in a way, or a situation unfolds in a way that I think is unfair. First, take it to your mat. That, again, I'm just saying that that's how I think I've come out of a situation better, right? More at peace, happier, whatever you want to call it. Before going to your friend, going to your sister, going to your parents, your grandmother, your uncle, whatever, your dog, I don't know. Whatever it is, right? Before going to them and complaining, oh, this happened, this situation, this is unfair, this isn't on, blah, blah, blah. Just take it to him first. Say, look, I'm unhappy, I'm not going to lie. This situation has made me unhappy, or I feel sad, I feel anxious, I feel angry. And see what he does first, because yet again, he's the best planner. Okay, I'm now going to go into part 2 of this discussion, which is how I've managed to deal with all of this with my ADHD. One of the big things that I personally struggled with before Ramadan was Salah. I really struggled with it because, just like with anything, I deeply struggle with procrastination and heavy guilt. Like, not just a light bit of like, oh, damn, I missed a prayer. Like, heavy guilt. I've missed a prayer. This is the end. I should not have done that. And I don't feel good about myself. Blah, 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 right? You can fill in the gaps. So that was a really, really big thing. And I think because in my head, I have to break it down into little steps in order to be able to do it in the first place. And so then all of a sudden there's like 1,000 steps. It's like, okay, so I've got to, first of all, am I even next to a bathroom? That's one thing. I've got to do my wudu, I've got to wash. That is a huge barrier for me personally. That is a big barrier, and I'm sure it is for a lot of people I'm sure that is a big thing for people whose brains are wired a different way. It's a big barrier to entry, is doing the wash. Even though it takes 5 minutes, literally under 5 minutes, like now I'd say it probably takes me like a minute and a half to do. It's the thought of, okay, I've got to go into the bathroom, I've got to like take my socks off, I've got to run the water a little bit, and then I've got to like do this, make sure I've done it in the right order, because, you know, I want to make sure I'm doing this right, like properly, because otherwise what's the point in doing it? Because it's like this perfectionism thing. And, you know, then you've got to find your prayer mat, you've got to make sure it's, you know, all in the right place, you've got to put on your dress and your hijab, and, you know, if your hijab's not on secured enough, like when you bend down it's going to fall, and I'm constantly readjusting it, and that's annoying me. And those are just all the physical things. That's not even like that is excluding internal monologue at this point. So you've got to deal with all this external stuff, and whether my dress is itchy, whether my hijab feels heavy or uncomfortable, and now I'm hot and I'm overstimulated. And, you know, and you can hear people downstairs, whatever, someone's making a coffee, they've put the kettle on, someone's lost their charger, where's my charger? All these things, right? And then you've got to add in that internal thing of you're going through all the stuff in your day. And for me personally, when I start doing something productive, my brain then suddenly wants to go into productivity mode, and it wants to be like, oh, well, I still need to do this. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I'll do that. I'll do this straight after that. Or, oh yeah, that was the other thing that I was gonna do. Or, oh, I was gonna text that person back. Oh, actually, not only am I gonna text them back, I'm gonna arrange something with them. Do you know what I mean? You start to get the picture. Again, if you're someone that has this kind of wiring in your brain, then you'll understand exactly what I mean. So it's a huge thing for me, and it was something that I was just like, I would just rather avoid it. And I would just say to myself, do you know what? God knows my intentions, and I can't put myself through that stress and anxiety every day. And it's not just, it's 5 times a day, guys, and those timings change every day. And again, if you're someone that is living with ADHD, you will really understand how that can be a real burden. It's so much responsibility, because our brains just don't like routine. It doesn't like it doesn't like routine, it doesn't like structure, and it really doesn't like repetitive structure. It wants to feel spontaneous. It wants to feel like, I can just do what I want when I want. And, you know, sometimes it feels really good. One day it might feel really good to have that structure, then one day it doesn't. But that's something that, unfortunately, that is not how prayer is laid out to us, and that's not how it's recommended to us. So if you're looking, by the way, for like a perfect way or answer as to how I do it now, probably not going to like it, but my answer would genuinely just be, I prayed and I asked for it. I asked for it, and every single prayer that I get to, I say thank you, and I beg him to get me to the next one. And lo and behold, after a while, couple of weeks in, couple of days in, even a couple of prayers in, it just like, so okay, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. It just becomes second nature. So okay, that's what I'm doing now. Yes, it is annoying. I'm not saying that my brain still doesn't try and fight it, because it does, especially the washing. For some reason, again, I don't know why. So maybe a practical bit of advice I could give you is just try to stay in a state of wudu for as long as possible. Like for me, I wake up for Fajr, I do that. I accept that whenever I wake up next after, I'm going to have to wash, okay? I'm going to have to wash before it's just reality. So I've accepted that. Then, between then and I would say I would try to stay in a state of wudu for at least Dhuhr and Asr prayer, at least. And then have a let yourself have a break. Say, do you know what? The next one I'm going to do is for Maghrib and Isha. Sometimes if I'm lucky, I'll keep it the whole day. But like I said, that doesn't always happen. So then in my head, now it's like, okay, well, I've only got to do it 3 times a day instead of doing it 5 times a day. Obviously, that might change, right? You have to accept that it might change. But that's a practical thing. But also, because I've just reduced a lot of outside noise, like I don't really have social media anymore. I don't like to talk to my friends on a regular basis. Again, though, this is a me personally thing. This might just be my personality, maybe not even my ADHD, but I do feel like as I have conversations with more women that, you know, again, have this kind of way of thinking, it's a similar thing. Like they don't like to be overburdened with social responsibilities. So, you know, reduce outside noise and just make it your priority. And, you know, I've just gotten to a point where it's like, this is all he wants from me. And if I can do this, then he will give me back. And he does. Alhamdulillah, he does. He gives me back what I need. He gives me back, you know, all that other bit of structure that is difficult, again, because when you're living with ADHD, it's not just one thing, it's everything, and every single little thing has its own world. That's the only way I can explain it. It's like every single thing, whether it's making a coffee, whether it's having breakfast, whether it's taking a shower, whether it's going to meet someone or coming to a prayer, reading Quran, reading a book, watching a film, it all has its own world of chaos. Each activity, each thing has its own spiral of clashing opposites. How can I explain this? When I choose to watch a movie, I want to watch a movie because I want to relax. But then all of a sudden, if I'm going to sit and watch it on the sofa or in bed, my clothes need to be comfortable because I need to feel relaxed. I can't sit there in jeans and watch a movie. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to get disturbed when I'm getting up, so I've got to then make sure I've got a drink. What's that drink going to be? Is it going to be water? Oh, if it's going to be a coffee, then I've got to go boil the kettle. Oh, wait, the 3 mugs that I like to use, because that's how... I don't want to overuse words, so that's, you know, what I need, right? There's maybe a few mugs that I just want to use, right? They're all dirty. Now I've got to wash one up. It's constant barriers to entry that you have to keep breaking through in order to get to that end result of me sitting on the sofa, fully relaxed, watching a film. I've sat down, I've left my glasses upstairs. That happens every single time, by the way. Genuinely, probably without fail. I've got to go get my glasses upstairs. When I go upstairs, maybe I put my lip balm down. And for me, lip balm isn't an aesthetic thing. It's a physical thing. It's a comfortability thing. So it's a sensory thing. I don't like the feeling of having dry lips. So if I have dry lips, I'll start to feel on edge and I'll start to feel anxious. And it's just because I'm uncomfortable. So then I've got to go and get that. And then when I go up there, I'll see my fidget toy and I'll think, oh, wait. Actually, it would be a good idea to take a fidget toy downstairs just in case during the film I get a little bit, do you know what I mean? I get a bit itchy and I need to want to move around, but I'm sat with my family or I'm sat with friends, so I don't want to be distracting to them. But then maybe this is the one that I find and this one makes too much noise. So I've got to find that one that's softer, that one that doesn't make too much noise, that's more muted. So it's just constant. And that's just watching a film, right? And if you think, you know, for someone who is living with ADHD or autism or ADHD and autism, they make everyday life very, very, very difficult in some way because, like I said, every single thing has its own chaos and its own world that you have to get into, and you can't just, and this will make sense to people who are like me, you can't just go in with your foot half in. You have to fully go into that world before you can get your end result and come out and be okay. So, yeah. So I think as well, give yourself grace. And if you're feeling stressed and you're feeling anxious about it, like genuinely, then God isn't going to punish you for that. He's, you know what I mean? He's not stupid, babe. He knows what's going on. So give yourself some grace, because he's giving you grace. So, yeah. Reduce noise. Find your way of coming to prayer. 1 second. Wagwan. Yeah, so give yourself grace. Find your own way to come to Salah. Trust that God will bring you there if you genuinely want it and it's meant for you. If it's meant for you and you want it, you will get there. Be patient. Trust him. Also, have a little bit of fear. Like, understand that the world that we're living in is temporary. It's not real. I'm not taking any of this stuff with me. And that's important to remember, because I think it's so easy to just get wrapped up in everything that's going on here, and like wanting to be like outside, having fun every day. You know what I mean? Living my best life, living in the moment. But at the same time, be conscious. Be conscious of what it means to actually be a Muslim. Just be conscious of it, okay? Again, I don't want you to see this as some kind of lecture. Yeah, so I think that I would say that is my advice. And, you know, the honest truth is that, like, not every day is the same for me, and some days are better than others, and that's okay. That's just how it is. That's just how life is, you know? And trust yourself and trust God. Trust that he's already made these provisions for you, and he's already planned this out. It's not for you to stress about. You know, be kind to people and give when you can, and then take when you need, you know? Don't just constantly rent yourself out. And I mean that in every possible sense. Don't give out words of wisdom if they aren't being heard and it's draining you. Don't go outside and socialize if it's bringing you further away from your own personal peace. Don't give all of your energy into a career or a job or a boss that doesn't do the same back to you. And if you want to get out of a situation, ask to be taken out of that situation. Ask him to recalibrate and trust that it will happen. Be patient. So yeah, that is my recap. There's still so much more that I wanted to talk about, to be honest, but I don't think I have any space on my camera. Classic. And also on my SD card, and also I didn't write notes, so I'm gonna watch this back and edit it and then make notes. What am I? She's saying it out loud. Honestly, I think that's another thing as well, like when you have ADHD, as soon as you say it out loud, it's not gonna happen, babe, so just keep it in there and let God do it, honestly. Anyways, I'm gonna go now. Bye.